Thank you very much, Riley.
I'm going to share my screen. So if you can please turn off your microphone, just so we make sure we hear everybody. We don't hear everybody, actually. Okay, confirm that you are seeing my screen right now. Perfect.
Yes.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you, Riley, for the nice introduction. So my name is Rosalie, and I'm with my colleague, Sophie. And over the next half hour or so, we'll give you an overview of the Government of Canada Premier Linguistic Tool. Just out of a curiosity, how many of you already know the portal? You can always answer in the chat or by raising your hand. So you'll learn many things today.
Yes.
So what is the language portal? It is an initiative of the Translation Bureau that is intended for all Canadians. The portal can be used by members of the general public who wish to improve their knowledge of the language, as well as by translators, terminologists, writers, and teachers of French and English. The portal is free and accessible to all. You don't need a username and a password. So no excuse, you just have to go to canada.ca/our-languages to access more than 23,000 pages of writing and translation resources. So the screen capture is a bit small, so we've cut the image in two. You can see now the home page of the language portal. It's under the canada.ca frame, so we are restricted to the image that we show, but still all the information is there, and you can see the rest of the homepage there. So the portal includes two feature tools. TERMIUM Plus, the Government of Canada terminology database, where you'll find millions of terms, definition, and examples of usage in a wide range of specialized field. We'll go over it more in details in a few seconds. And there's also the Language Navigator. It's a search engine that goes through the language portal writing in tools to help you find answers to questions about language. It helps you with grammar, punctuation, writing conventions, vocabulary, legal language, and clear and effective communication. So over to you, Sophie.
All right, so we'll start with Termium Plus. We have one person who said that they already know Termium Plus. We'll give you an overview of this search engine. So Termium Plus, as an information, is one of the largest terminological and linguistic databases in the world. So it's an essential tool for decoding acronyms, checking official titles, finding equivalents in another language, etc. It contains records in English, in French, also in Spanish and Portuguese, as Riley just explained earlier. So terminologists from the Translation Bureau input information in Termium Plus every week. So it's pretty up-to-date terminology-wise. So to show you how Termium works, we thought it would be fun to start with a translation question. So let's say you're chatting with a French-speaking writer about the plot of your short story. You can see your fellow writer doesn't really understand what you're talking about. You tell them the French word for plot is, and now you can tell us what you think is the right answer in the chat. So would it be A, l'intrigue of your short story? Would it be B, le plan of your short story? Would it be C, la mise en situation? So we have an answer. Oh, we have a few answers. Okay. Well, let's go see what how Termium Plus can help us with this. So this is here what the interface of Termium Plus looks like. So searches are done using keywords like plot in the which term box. In the Where menu, you can choose to search for a term in English or in French. In the subject field menu, you can specify a subject field. However, it's more useful to specify your subject field after you've done your research so you can narrow down your results. And now let's see what kind of answers our search with plot will give us. So as you can see at the top of the page, our search for plot yields 32 records. Termium Plus shows us the terms in English on the left first, and then the equivalents on the French on the right. And in some cases, you will also see Spanish equivalents. Here, there is none, so you don't see anything in the Spanish column. Now, since we have 32 records, we need to decide which one to use. We could look at each record individually, but that's usually a bit time consuming. It's a good exercise for gisting, but there's a faster way to get our results. So we can use the filter results by subject field option in the top right-hand corner of the screenshot. So the list of subject fields, which we didn't take a picture of, includes literature. So that's interesting for us. So we chose this option to show you on the next slide, which is our answer. So those who chose answer A, intrigue, had the right answer. This is what a plot is called in French. It's the intrigue. I was thinking maybe in English, intrigue could be a synonym for plot, but it is not. Thesaurus told me that. So here we go. The right answer is intrigue. Now, Termium shows you different information. For each record, you can see the date on which it was created or last updated in the upper right-hand corner. So here we can see that the record dates from 1975. So this record has existed for a long time. If you often use Termium Plus to check or confirm information on recurring terms in your text, you can click on Search History, and the last 20 or so terms that you searched for in Termium Plus will appear on your screen. You can delete records from your search history by pressing the red button with the trash can icon on the right side of your screen. So you can clean this up regularly if you don't need your history, or if you have new terms you want to look at. Another thing you can do in Termium is save records. So if you translate or write similar text and often search similar terms, there might be entries you want to save. So you just need to click on the Save Record blue button at the bottom of the record, and the record will be added to your directory of saved records, which you can click on up there, Saved Records. You can change your display options in Termium as well by clicking on the display options box in the upper right corner of your screen. So when you click on that button, this window appears where you can choose which language to display first. So you can choose to have the French on the left, the English in the middle, and you can choose between Spanish and Portuguese afterwards. You can't have both at the same time. Termium doesn't allow a 4-column display. And you can also, if you basically look for terms in French or English and not in Spanish or Portuguese, you can choose to have neither of them appear and have only English and French in the order you like. English and French are mandatory, however. Now, Termium, the Translation Bureau also provides a collection of glossaries and vocabularies, which are incorporated into Termium Plus. So anything you would look up in these glossaries and vocabularies is already downloaded into Termium Plus. But the glossaries and vocabularies can have their use. For example, if you're looking to get a gist of the way things are said in a specialized field, then going through a glossary or vocabulary is a great idea, because you can see a whole lot of concepts along with their equivalent in French or English. And if you're looking for a particular term, if you want to pinpoint one term, then maybe using Termium Plus might be a better solution for you if you want a quick answer. Our glossaries and vocabularies are developed by the Translation Bureau's language expert who work at developing truly relevant glossaries and vocabularies, such as the glossary on the COVID-19 pandemic. That is our most widely consulted vocabulary. And you can rely on the high quality of these resources. Now, as of interest, just on March 31st, very recently, the Translation Bureau published a new guide on equity, diversity, and inclusion terminology, which is the result of a government-wide collaboration. So you can see this guide right in the middle of the three images there. So the guide aims to improve understanding of concepts related to equity, diversity, accessibility, and inclusion. And you can access it from the homepage of the portal. And now, Rosalie, I will let you talk to us about Language Navigator.
Yes, thank you. So we now come to the Language Navigator, which we consider to be the Google of the language field. So instead of asking a vocabulary question in Google, we invite you from now on to ask it in the Language Navigator, and we'll show you how. It will help you find answer to your question on grammar, punctuation, style, vocabulary, and clear and effective communication. So let's look at it more in detail. Again, a small question for you. Which is better, a couple of books or a couple books?
Couple of.
In the Language Navigator, you can search by keyword, by writing tool, or by theme. So we search by keyword by putting couple in the keyword box and press search. You'll now get 93 results. And I invite you to filter at this moment where you have your result. You can filter by language, by writing tools, if you know them. I will go over them shortly. By content type, French theme, English theme. You can see the source in the baby blue. So you can already select which source is best for your question. There is also a short description of what you can find by clicking on the link.
So we chose this article of Writing Tips Plus, which we'll describe a bit later, because we wanted a description of the cases in which we can use couple of or couple by itself. Now, I don't know if you can see it big enough, but in the two orange boxes, you can see in which cases you would use a couple of, and in which cases you would use a couple by itself. So I can see that Susan, Carol, Anne already knew the answer to that. So maybe we chose an easy question, but the answer to the question is, Rosalie, drum roll.
A couple of A.
So everybody had the right answer. Good job.
So it's a teamwork here, right? I'm changing the slides and bear with us. So another way to search in the Language Navigator is by theme. So the links to the theme in English and French can be found all over the search by keyword right here. So if you click on the English Navigator theme, for say, you will have all those categories, and you can then click on the one you want to see all the related topics. As you can see on the screen, you can also search directly in the writing tools. We'll take a look at the writing tools in a few seconds, but if you forget what each one is for, you can always click on the writing tools link right here on the related link. And you'll have a description of each of them. So yes, Sophie, we'll start with you.
Yes. So
Okay.
you have here the full list of the writing tools that are offered in the language portal of Canada. You have 8 in French, 5 in English. I will go over the ones in French because you might have to work in your second language from time to time, and knowing the tools that exist to help you in French could be useful. So first off, you have one of the ones that will be most useful to you will be Clé de la rédaction. Clé de la rédaction is a set of contains a set of articles on anything grammar, punctuation, syntax, and writing conventions, etc. Do you want me to stop a second to answer the question in the chat? I'm unable to find a link to the Yes, we will put the link to the navigator in the chat. No problem. So yeah, Clé de la rédaction is going to give you all sorts of articles that will help you with grammar, verbs, and everything. Lexique analogique has a lot of buzzwords in French that are words that are hard to translate to English. You'll find in lexique analogique to be able to translate them accurately. Le dictionnaire des co-occurrences, you know, when you have these words that you don't know if they match together or not, do you write an exam, do an exam, make an exam? This tool is available in French only, but it'll help you to know what words go together in French. So, écrire un examen, faire un examen, effectuer un examen, you'll find that in there. So you'll find the verbs with the words. Le rouleau des prépositions will help you with prepositions. So if you don't know if you say s'intéresser à quelque chose, dans quelque chose, c'est remercier quelqu'un pour quelque chose, de quelque chose, you'll find that in the rouleau des prépositions. Conjugaire, this is a very useful tool. You know how French conjugations can be hard in French. This contains tables of verbs in any tense and mood. So very helpful tool when you have to conjugate a verb in the subjunctive past, which is very literary. Chronique de langue is a series of articles on language. These are articles that date back to a few years when the Translation Bureau used to publish a magazine called L'Actualité langagière, but they're still very relevant today. Juridictionnaire and mots du droit contain concepts and equivalents that are related to legal vocabulary. So, Rosalie, I will let you talk about the English writing tools.
Yeah, so there's only 5 writing tools compared to 8 in French. We have Writing Tips Plus, which deal with difficult points of English grammar and punctuation, as well as other English writing conventions. This tool includes articles that appear formerly in Writing Tips and the Canadian Style, so the two have merged. Also, we have word tailoring, which is a translation tool that suggests a number of English equivalent for common French word. Favorite article, which is like Chronique de langue that Sophie just spoke about. So it's a collection of articles from the Translation Bureau. Hypergrammar 2, which is a self-guided learning tool that will help you improve your knowledge of English grammar, spelling, and punctuation. And lastly, PEC English Pointers, which is a collection of tips that also include self-text exercise, self-test exercise, the text. These looks exactly like the portal popular quizzes, which we'll talk about a bit later. So together, all those tools make an impressive set of resources.
They can replace a pile of grammars and style books on your desk. So we also have on the home page of the portal the collection of Canadian language resources. The collection is a directory of Canadian language resources, which is divided into 7 major categories, which we'll see right now on the next slide. So you have writing resources, glossaries and dictionaries, gender inclusive writing, Aboriginal languages, language learning, sign language, organizations, and events. The section on gender inclusive writing is very recent. We've added that at the end of February, I think. It gives you a great overview of Canadian expertise in terms of inclusive writing. It's really a part of the collection to explore if you want to make your text more gender inclusive. The collection is an evergreen body of work. We are constantly working at updating it and adding new resources. And if you think of any free quality Canadian resource that can be added to the collection, let us know. We're always interested to know what you use and to add it to the collection if it's free and Canadian. Over to you, Rosalie.
The portal is also a great place to express yourself. As a writer yourself, maybe you already submitted a text, or you would like to do so. So the Our Languages blog is produced by people like you and me who submit posts on different topics related to a language. We recently reached 3.5 million page view. This is a very impressive number for a government blog. So there's a lot of reader and we're really proud of it. Maybe you're among those. So like the rest of the portal, the blog is accessible to everyone. Topics range from second language immersion to language tips on children's books. And we also had poems. So any kind of language related topic will publish you. And we offer a turnkey service. So you send us your text in the language of your choice, and we take care of editing and translation. In addition, our graphic designer create an image like you see on the screen, and we publish your blog and promote it in our weekly newsletter and social media account. It says weekly newsletter, but we are bi-weekly now, or every second week, so every 2 weeks. We publish a post every 2 weeks also, so we would gladly welcome your contribution.
Yes, we would. And now the portal as a very fun component. It's got more than 600 language quizzes in French and English. I have to warn you, these are incredibly addictive. Once you start playing, you cannot stop. You can use these quizzes to test your knowledge of your first or of your second language. Why not both, actually? People often tell us that they like these quizzes because they take only a few minutes to play. Well, that can lead into a day of playing, but that's another issue. And they're accompanied by good explanations. Once you've answered the quiz, you have explanations on why the answers you gave are good or not. We're gonna have a look at one of those. This is one of, oh, I skipped a page. So we have quizzes on everything related to language. They're divided into 6 categories: grammar, syntax, punctuation, spelling, style and writing conventions, vocabulary, and general knowledge. So I thought we'd go into a bit of Canadian spelling as a bit of a challenge or not. So this is one of 3 quizzes on Canadian spelling. Our quizzes usually have an average of 10 questions each, so they don't take much time to answer. And if we look at this one, I don't know if we have some time, so maybe we can take some time to answer these 4 questions. So how would you spell toque or toque? I have difficulty saying the word, but how would you spell that word in Canada? With an O as in A, or with a U as in B? I can see some answers. Yes, A's and B's. So we'll see. We'll answer each of the questions, and then we'll go to see the answer for the 4 of them. So nationalize. Do we write it with a Z or a Z as in A, or S as in B? Yes. Okay. We have A's and B's again. Now, number 3, theater center. Would it be as in A, ER and ER? B, theater center with REs in both words? Theater center, RE in theater, center, ER? Or D, theater center, ER for theater, RE for center? 2 B's, lots of B's. Okay. Number 4, humorist, with a U or without a U? A or B? All right. So let's go see our answers. So this is basically, once you've answered the quiz, this is how it looks. So you have the right answer. So for question 1, the answer was B with a U. So I saw lots of B's, and there's an explanation that says toque and toque are both recognized spellings for the close-fitting knitted hat often worn by Canadians in winter, but most Canadian sources prefer with a U. So that's interesting. As for nationalize, the answer is A with the Z. So there are a few words, including advertise, exercise, supervise, and surprises, that always end in ISE. For most of the others, Canadian spelling usually reflects the American preference for IZE. And number 3, the answer was B. I saw lots of B's, so you knew that one. The Canadian preference is definitely for theater with RE and center with RE. Theater and center with ER reflect the American preference. Answers C and D are not acceptable because they are internally inconsistent. That makes a lot of sense. And number 4, humorist. While Canadians spell the root of the word as humor with a E and the Americans as humor without the E, everyone agrees that there is no second U in humorist. And you would have the answers like that for the rest of the quiz. So sorry, would it be possible to post links as? Yes, we can put the link to the quizzes. And if you wanted to get more information on Canadian spelling, you could also type Canadian spelling in Language Navigator to get all sorts of articles on the subject, other quizzes, etc., etc. And now I'll stop talking and let you conclude, Rosalie.
Everything's bring us back to the Language Navigator, right? So I said it's a very resourceful tool. So we've now reached the end of the presentation, and we hope we have given you a good idea of the capabilities of the Language Portal of Canada. From the point listed on the slide, it can be noted that the portal is not a simultaneous translation product, but rather a writing and translation tool. The resource it offers are reliable and include relevant linguistic recommendations. The portal is basically 23,000 pages of tips and tricks at your fingertips. To stay on top of the portal news, we invite you to subscribe to our languages newsletter sent every 2 weeks. In our language newsletter, you'll receive the newest game or the game we highlight for those weeks. You'll receive the new blogs and all kind of information. So we will send you the link for to that particular page of the portal to subscribe after. And of course, you can follow us on the Twitter and Facebook. There also we've published all kind of interesting things, but the games, the quizzes, and the blog as well. So if you have any question, comment, or resource suggestion, and I noted that we didn't spoke about how to submit a suggestion in Termium Plus. If there's a term that you're searching for and it's not there. There was also a suggestion button on that page, but you can also write us anytime at the address that appear on the screen right now. And we'll open the floor for any question. You can ask directly in the chat or raising your hand or all speaking at the same time, and we'll answer them. I'll close the presentation and go back to our camera.
I have a quick question. My name is Nathalie, and I was wondering, it was hard for me to check on my computer, but in the resources, I assume there's different links to other existing resource where we can find everything in one place, like the Le Grand Dictionnaire Terminologique du Québec or other ones. I just couldn't double check that, or
there might be the collection of Canadian resources is the place where we have links to external websites.
okay.
So there you might find, I'm not sure though, that we have the Grand Dictionnaire Terminologique from the Office québécois de la langue française in there, because we're both independent organizations. So we don't necessarily reference, I'd have to check, but I think not. What you'll find on the language portal will be all the tools we talked about, from Language Navigator, the language tools, Termium Plus. So you'll find these on the home page of the portal. But the OQLF resources are entirely apart. They're a provincial organization.
Okay, I understand. I was just wondering if they referred each other. Okay, thank you.
We do work with them though. For instance, we have a vocabulary on distance teaching and telework. We did that in collaboration with the Office québécois de la langue française. We're also working on some guidelines on inclusive writing, and there is collaboration with them on that. So we work together. We just, I don't know, cross-referencing products, it maybe never came up.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question that is just for my curiosity. It's interesting that you have Portuguese there, and I'm wondering how it was decided which languages to include and whether there are any plans to include additional languages.
Well, there is a reason for Spanish and Portuguese. It's NAFTA. When NAFTA was implemented, Spanish and Portuguese were added to Termium Plus. Right now, the focus of the work we do is mostly official languages, but there is an internal version of Termium which is available to translators in the Bureau, and there is a Inuktitut option. I would not know if that is to be made public, but I would presume it could be at some point. Right now, I think it's in its experimental phase.
Thank you.
We had
You're
a
welcome.
question, Sophie. Maybe
Yes.
Sophie or Marie will be able to answer. But do some resources have spoken or auditory help for pronunciation? I don't believe so. Do I mistaken?
I don't believe either. It's for written communication mostly, but Marie-Claude, can you, on the spot?
I don't know. I should ask the question.
No,
But I think it's mostly written. That's for written communication. We don't have anything audio or phonetics at all.
I also think so.
I have a question about the Termium Plus.
Yes.
Yes, because it just went a bit quickly for me, even though I had used it. So I was just wondering, you said to put in the filters. I mean, how do you,
yes.
At what point do you decide? Because you had 30 something
yes.
Choices. So at what point do you use it?
Yes, you know what? I can share my screen with you and show you the filters live. Maybe that will help. Let me just, okay. So, okay, can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
All right, so here I'm in Termium Plus. Let's say I'll search for plot because I know I'll have a lot of records. So I search for plot here and I will launch the search. This is okay, so here we are. So you can search the subject fields right here where I'm clicking on the, you could do that when you're launching your search.
Right.
But we usually think it's easier to narrow down once the search has appeared on your screen. So here you click on the filter results by subject field button, and you have all the list of possible fields, subject fields. So we were looking for literature, but we could have been looking for the same term in cartography. So I would click on that and then go filter, and it would show me the term, how to say plot in the field of cartography. So lever un plan is un schéma. Here it's used as a verb, for instance. Here it's a noun. So that's how you would filter your result. And usually it's easier afterwards, because if you look here in the all subject field, you really have all subject field possible in Termium. So it can take a while to go through them to find exactly what you're looking for, which is why we usually say filter afterwards. It's going to be a bit easier.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes. And if I may ask another one, with the glossary, I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about the glossaries, how many and how many do you have?
There are, yeah, I haven't counted them.
Approximately.
There are approximately, I'd say, well, let's go have a look. I'm sharing my page with you, so we'll go in the lexic glossaries and vocabularies just here.
Yes, right there.
Yes, exactly. I'm looking for my things.
Susan, your question helped us make our presentation better. So everyone there, your comments and questions are welcome. It's funny because we had that page before on all the page that you're seeing now, and we removed it from the presentation because we thought it was too overwhelming.
Yes, exactly. So you see them here from A to W. You have some of them that are archived. So these are older vocabularies and glossaries. So let's see, we have about what, maybe 40, 50 glossaries in there, and all the ones that are active, well, there's the accessibility glossary, the alternative dispute resolution glossary in common law, etc. So I really find that these are useful for gisting purposes. Usually when I'm working in a specialized field I don't know, I kind of like to look at a glossary or vocabulary to just get a bit of a feel of how things are said in the other language, the definitions and everything. So these are very useful. There's a list of countries, country capitals and inhabitant names in there, which is a colossal work and very interesting.
I can see that how glossaries would vocabularies would be useful for a writer if you write on a particular subject or with a character who's doing such and so and you want to get the vocabulary around that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely useful. You're welcome. I will just stop sharing my screen here. Here we go.
I have a question related to that second to last one, which is I'm in Termium right now and I'm looking, I put in the word plot and I launched it. And then in the subject field, I'm not finding literature. So maybe you could tell me where you found that.
Yes, I will reshare my
Thank you.
my screen.
Because that's one that I think will be of use to most of us.
Okay, I'm just going to go back to my glossaries page, entire screen. Let's share this. All right. So here I am in the glossaries. I'm sorry if I'm scrolling and giving you a heartache. All right, so Termium Plus here. All right, so I will. So you see, I could go in my search history since I've looked up plot quite often and just click on it and it'll bring me to the list of results. So here we are. And here in the filter by subject field, it doesn't want to click suddenly. Oh, yes, it does. See, it's right here, literature.
Okay, I guess there's on my screen, I clicked on the one that says in which subject field up above.
Yes, okay. That's why. That's a list of very broad subject fields. And I feel it's a bit too broad, exactly. So that's why I usually use the filter afterwards, because it's the actual subject field of the records.
Okay.
But you're right. I would imagine it should have been in arts recreation. It's interesting that there's
but it wasn't there. I looked.
Yeah,
at least I didn't see it.
you have well, you don't have literature at all, which is why we don't usually like us translators used to working with Termium Plus day in, day out. We usually don't use these filters a lot. We didn't talk a lot about the where menu, the where scroll down menu. You can choose to look up a term in English, in French. You can also look terms in Spanish, look up terms in Spanish, Portuguese. There are different nuances. You can search English terms, exact terms, so that if you, let's say you were typing tax assessment, it would find you only tax assessment, not assessment by itself. So it's a bit more restrictive. And in the you have a FAQ here, a FAQ, where you have the description of what all these things allow you to search in more precisely. As we said, though, people are asking for the links. You'll have a copy of the presentation afterwards, which contains the links, and we will send you a quick reference booklet, which has a lot of information for you and links as well to all the relevant sections of the portal.
I have a question. When you were showing the glossaries, you had a list in alphabetical order, like under A, B, C. Can you show us how you got that, please? Because I could not find that.
Yes. Yes, no problem. So here I'm on the homepage of the portal. So that's the canada.ca/our-languages page. Right here under most requested, you have a series of links and you have glossaries and vocabularies right here, the third one. I don't know if you can see that on your computer right now. But this is where the glossaries and vocabularies are. For more specifically, oh, yes, I'm sorry.
No, I see glossaries and dictionaries. I don't see glossaries and vocabularies.
Oh, could you be in the collection of language resources right now? If you go on the portal homepage, where else they are? Yeah, that's the place that you can get to them most easily on the portal homepage. So right here where I'm circling glossaries and vocabularies.
Okay.
Or if not, I can copy the link in the chat so that you can get them more easily and add them to your bookmarks. There you
Okay, that would be
is
great.
that the
Thank
right
you.
one? No, I copied the wrong one. Give me a second. That's my non-techie side at work. Okay, I have to go back on the homepage. Bear with me. Here we are.
You can also find them if you click on Termium Plus. At the bottom of the page, you'll find them as well. Because, like we said, all vocabularies and glossaries are incorporated into Termium Plus.
True. Thank you, Rosalie.
Okay,
I think it's apparent that this was great because there's so much there. And of course, we're all saying, well, how did you get there? And how did you do that? But I think what I've learned here is that what we need to do if we want to use this is use it. It's just go on the site and look around and explore it. But now at least we know what we're looking for. And it's great that you guys are available for answering questions if we have them.
It's a pleasure. And after the presentation, if anything comes up, don't hesitate to write the address on the last page of the slide and ask any question you have. We'll answer them as soon as we can.
We'll actually send Riley a quick reference booklet where you'll find just about everything that we just said. So how to do a search in Language Navigator or in Termium with tricks as well. So you'll find quicker what you're looking for. So we'll send that shortly.
Yes, because we're very much conscious that we just gave you a lot of information in under an hour. So the quick reference booklet will be very useful. And we have it in both English and French. So if some of you want to use it in French to test your knowledge of French, we can also send it to you in that language.
All right, well.
Question?
I had a question.
Yes.
I was just curious. You'll have to excuse me. I was a little bit distracted because I'm doing a bit of work, but I was curious because in social media, I follow someone who shares Acadian expressions, and I was wondering if you sometimes have regional specific definitions as well. Like, for instance, in Acadian French, pocher is tricoter, these things. And I was wondering if it gets into those specifics for certain translations or definitions.
Yes. In Termium Plus, you'll have some indications sometimes after a term that says that it's a regionalism, or New Brunswick, Quebec, or the West. We also have some quizzes that are on particular variations of French and English, like Newfoundland English, New Brunswick French, and so you can see that, I think, in the quizzes on general knowledge, culture générale in French. So you'll find, or maybe spelling also for some for some English regions. And you will find that in our social media, we often publish questions that are from the quizzes, and oftentimes you'll see some regional expressions come up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When you say you're going to send these things to us, what does that mean? You have our individual emails, or it's going to be through Quebec
through
Writers?
Riley. Yes.
Sorry?
I'll be sending it out to you, Ellen. They'll send it to me and I'll forward it to the participants.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And I think, Riley, you can, if you want, you can even send it to people that didn't assist to the presentation, because it'll give them a big overview of the portal. It's not necessary to have been to the presentation.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of the, there may have been people who registered but were unable to make it today, and we'll definitely also make this recording available for those people for a limited time. And unless there were any other, last minute burning questions from our lovely audience today, I'd like to formally thank Rosalie and Sophie on behalf of QWF. I believe that we have learned a lot. I learned so much. I thought I was an expert on Canadian spelling. I got a 0 and all that. It's like, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn, and I'm very grateful that we've to get to know this amazing tool that you have put up. So
it's been a pleasure to be with you all today for the lunch break coffee. How do you call those sessions, Riley?
The lunch and learn.
Lunch and learn. I didn't see much people eating their lunch, but a lot of people learned.
And thank you as well on my part, and keep on writing and keep on but use the portal as much as you can to get to know it. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. And I hope you all have a great day. Thank you, Sophie and Rosalie. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.